The Grand Theft Auto games have managed to propel its particular style of crime drama storytelling and immersive open-world gameplay all the way to the top of the heap for a long time. Even today, Grand Theft Auto pierces the surface of mainstream culture with every release, and asserts itself as the ultimate open-world action series, much to the dismay of other games that have attempted to dethrone Rockstar's flagship franchise over the years. Those who have been around the series for a long time and have enjoyed more than a few of its games tend to have their favorite one picked out with plenty of reasons and arguments ready to go as to why. This is understandable, as all of the games in the series, at least the mainline ones, are outstanding representatives of their genre for the times that they were released. Among the heap of unforgettable games in the series stands Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. While many longtime fans of the series might be divided on certain titles like GTA 4 or perhaps Vice City, nobody really disputes that San Andreas is one of the best games, if not the best, in the entire series. There are plenty of reasons for this, and me being tasked with picking only a few of them to keep this discussion from going on forever is somewhat painful, but I'll give it my best shot. One of the most notable things about San Andreas, as opposed to other previous games in the Grand Theft Auto series, is the incredibly detailed and well fleshed out story. Granted, Vice City and previous GTA games all had good stories and memorable characters, but San Andreas takes that to a whole new level of insanely good. The setting itself was a marvel of creativity and achievement for the time. The game takes place in the fictional West Coast state of San Andreas, which largely consisted of three major fictional cities that were based on Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Las Vegas. All these fictional cities carried the culture and tone of the real cities they were based upon expertly, and the attention to detail rivaled how well Rockstar was able to pull off an Eastern New York City vibe for Liberty City and a Miami vibe in Vice City in the previous games. Right down to the building styles and street layouts, all of San Andreas brought that Western America feel to life in a way that nothing had up till that point, and it's a struggle to think of anything that's done it better since, outside of the Grand Theft Auto series. The setting wouldn't matter much if there wasn't a wide spectrum of well-written, interesting characters for you to come across though, and San Andreas has that in spades. Samuel L. Jackson, David Cross, James Woods, Charlie Murphy, and several other major talents all lended their voices for various characters, which again was a level of popular talent unheard of in a video game for that time. In fact, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas firmly held the world record of amount of voice actors and amount of recorded dialogue in a video game according to Guinness for a time, with well over 800 credited voice performers. The story itself I won't spoil too much of here, as much of the joy of experiencing it is dependent on seeing it unfold for the first time, but needless to say, the massive tapestry of different storylines from each of the three major districts of San Andreas and all of the crazy situations that Carl C.J. Johnson gets himself into is an incredibly satisfying journey into corrupt police departments, gang politics, and just good old-fashioned GTA craziness. CJ's journey through the streets of San Andreas is a long one, but it's just as rich in quality as it is quantity. Gameplay is king though, as we all know, and this is arguably where San Andreas shines the most. Everything you would expect from playing previous games was there. San Andreas has the wealth of story missions, side missions, and lots of areas to explore on foot or by car. But newly added to this game were burglary missions, time-sensitive delivery missions, and various training tools for all the vehicle types that served as a nice way to help the player learn to master them as much as they wanted, which all made the game feel a little fuller, as well as a bit more like its own thing within the greater GTA universe. We also saw San Andreas take lots of other finer details of CJ's development into consideration. Eating, exercising, and picking out various types of jewelry, haircuts, tattoos, and clothes would all have an impact on how CJ looked, how he played, and how various other characters treated him. On top of that, a wealth of car modifications, managing gang territories, and an expanded money system that would allow you to send CJ into debt to shady characters who would hunt him down, all added up to a shockingly deep, unparalleled open-world experience that made San Andreas stand apart from previous GTA games. As with the previous games, San Andreas also had an extensive assortment of music and talk radio segments that you could stumble across while scanning around on the radio. Although now, the songs and segments were randomized more thoroughly to seem more realistic and unpredictable, and also included newscasts that would mention things that were happening in the main story of the game. The later released Xbox and Windows versions of the game would also allow the player to listen to their own music, settling any discrepancies anybody might have with the variety once and for all. While the game ran on a similar version of the engine that 3 and Vice City ran on, San Andreas was released well into the 6th generation of consoles, and the developers had long since wrapped their arms around the capabilities of the PlayStation 2 and Xbox at that time. Due to this fundamental mastering of the platforms, this GTA game sported some noticeable upgrades in detail for character models, streets, and vehicles. This level of detail was perhaps somewhat inconsistent, with some objects of lesser importance like furniture and streetlights not really looking much different, but odds are you'd be having too much fun enjoying the game to notice most of that. Given all of this, as you might expect, GTA San Andreas was met with instant critical acclaim. Other than the occasional 8, the game was scoring nearly flawlessly with most mainstream reviewing outlets and selling just as well. By many estimates, San Andreas sold over 25 million copies by 2007. Even now on PS4, San Andreas is one of Sony's best-selling PS2 classics games. Xbox One has added it to their growing list of backwards compatible games, and the Steam version has had updates all the way up to 2014. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is not a perfect game, no game is, but it moved the bar so far for the series and for its genre and for gaming as a whole that its successors GTA 4 and 5 certainly wouldn't have been the same without it. San Andreas pushed the systems it was on well beyond what anyone thought possible, and for all of this, it is still regarded as one of the best games of all time. Even if this particular flavor of open-world action RPG isn't your personal cup of tea, you have to admit, it's absolutely one hell of a game. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed and would like to see more, feel free to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to ensure you'll be notified when new videos go up.